Hello everyone, this is a comparative analysis video. In this video, we are going to compare Boeing and Airbus. These are the content for today's presentation.
Boeing is an American multinational corporation that designs, manufactures and sells airplanes, rotorcraft, telecommunication and equipments. The company was founded by William A. Boeing in 1916. It is headquartered in Chicago, US. There are more than 140,000 employees across the United States and in more than 65 countries. The revenue of Boeing company as of 2021 is 15.3 billion US dollar. Airbus is a global pioneer in the aerospace industry, operating in the commercial aircraft, helicopter, defense and space sectors. It was founded by 4 countries in Europe, that is France, Germany, Spain and United Kingdom in 1970. It has its headquarters in Leiden, Netherlands. There are over 130 employees and it is the largest aeronautics and space company in Europe. The revenue of Airbus in 2021 is 24.6 billion euros. Special analysis of Airbus and Boeing. Political factor. A stable and pleasant business environment with predictable market growth positively influenced the both companies, Airbus and Boeing, to have political stability. There is no uniformity in the taxation of both companies. Economic factor. The economic recession and financial crisis caused people to reduce their spending, especially on travel, which leads to the reduction and demand for the aircraft. The exchange rate fluctuation can also influence the profitability and international trade of both companies. Social factor. In general, individual tends to take more vacations, especially on festival seasons such as Christmas, Easter, Eid, causing the airlines to increase the supply of their aircraft to feed the demand. Low-cost airlines influence people to travel more and thus increase in the demand of aircraft. Technological factor. The aircraft company like Boeing and Airbus always invest highly in research and development, and in such companies the research work always happens. Digitalization of service is also important technological factor that has helped not only Airbus but all firms in the aerospace sector. Legal factors. Both companies have laws regarding the protections of employees and customers. Intellectual properties laws are intended to safeguard companies, patents and valuable ideas. Talking about the environmental factor, growing environmental degradation along with the technology innovation has driven business to implement innovative recycling and waste management strategies. Both companies, Boeing and Airbus, do the recycling and waste management. Both companies should implement environmental standards and regulation at national and local level. This can help both Airbus and Boeing in numerous sectors such as planning locations, product development, etc.
Counter analysis, put your 5 force of Airbus and Boeing. In the case of Airbus, bargaining power of supplier is very low because of its larger distribution and supply chain globally. Where Boeing is very large in size and has strongest financial power, which gives very low bargaining power to its supplier. The bargaining power of buyers of both companies is moderated because of its brand image and high advanced technology. If there is very low competition of Boeing in US, the threat of substitutes is very low, but in the case of Airbus, it has very high quality performance and hence no competitor can compete with Airbus in Europe. The threat of new entrants are low in both companies because there is the need of high investment and high skill manpower. The level of competitive revival of both companies are in a high level because of its quality and the image also technical, technological and financial strength.
Now analyzing key success factor. We first look after what the customer want and how to compete. Now first key success factor for both companies is their manufacturing process, under which we could look after their low cost production efficiency, super quality of manufacture, flexibility in product design. Because the Airbus is smaller than Boeing, Boeing has a higher level productivity advantage. Their second key success factor is their technology. They both have product innovation capabilities. For example, their commercial jet line, the Boeing 737 and Airbus A320. Last but not least, their key success factor are skill. Both businesses have superior workforce talent, as they both are competitor to each other. They both have ability to get new products to market quickly, and they both have good quality control strategy.
Comparing with the MN6003NT framework, first strategy. Both companies set smart goals with short and long-term deadline, taking consideration of changing customer traits, but they need to protect their core competitive advantage. Moving to findings, both companies often form inter-department teams for projects and tasks and develop intricate system for communication, but they both should reduce the dependencies to China. Now moving to system, both companies have defined and well-developed systems, whereas they both need to focus on improving internal processes such as risk management. Talking about staff, human resources function of each business has systematic process that aligns the other department to identify the risk gaps. So coming to styles, participative leadership style of both business is able to engage and involve its employees in decision-making process and managerial decisions. However, they both need to improve the workflow and should build smaller teams as part of large teams. Now, moving to skills, they both have a commendable workforce with high skill and capacities and arranges regular timing and workshop, whereas they both need to hire fresh talent as more and more people are leaving their existing job. Now, talking about their core values, they are defined and communicated to foster a creative and supportive organization structure, and they additionally need to focus more on
We did a VRIO analysis of industry for Airbus, which identified that the financial resources provide temporary competitive advantage if this variable are considered as valuable, integral, and exploited by the organization. But it is not considered as rare. They exhibit sustainable competitive advantage for digital strategy and brand awareness because the variable are considered as valuable and exploited by the organization. But it is not considered as rare and integral. Lasting pricing strategy and brand extension is a temporary competitive advantage because it is also considered as valuable, rare, integral, and exploited by the organization. But for pricing strategy, it is not considered as integral. BRIO analysis of Boeing. From the BRIO analysis of Boeing, it was identified that customer network and loyalty provide medium-term competitive advantage because these variables are considered as valuable, where rare and integral, and are exploited by the organization. Similarly, identifying the brand extension and brand position provide temporary competitive advantage because these variables are considered as valuable, where integral, and exploited by the organization. But both variables are not considered as rare. They exhibit strong competitive advantage for the global market because it is considered valuable, rare, and exploited by the organization. But integral is difficult to consider. Lastly, sales force and channel management are the sustainable competitive advantage because it is considered valuable, rare, and exploited by the organization, but difficult to implement.
Talking about the income statement, the revenue of Airbus in 2020 had decreased by 29% from the previous year, as well as Boeing revenue had also decreased by 24% from the previous year. In 2020, both companies were at loss because of the pandemic. So moving forward to statement of financial position, Airbus had decreased its assets by 3.77% in 2020 compared to the previous year, but Boeing had increased its assets by 13.85% in 2020 compared to previous year. Comparing both companies' assets, similar to assets, Airbus had decreased its liability by 4.4% from the previous year, but Boeing had increased its liability by 19.93% from the previous year. So moving forward to cash flow, at the end of fiscal year 2020, both Airbus and Boeing have a good amount of cash, but in comparison, Airbus has more amount of cash and cash equivalent in 2020 than Boeing. So looking at the ratio analysis and comparing both companies, due to huge loss in 2020, both net profit margin is negative. Hence, net profit margin of Airbus is minus 2.3% and Boeing is minus 20.5% respectively. It seems that the net profit margin of Boeing is significantly weaker than Airbus. Return on assets shows a negative value of minus 0.11 for Airbus and minus 0.078 for Boeing in 2020. Similarly, the current ratio of Airbus is 1.173 and Boeing is 1.394 in 2020. Due to loss, earning per share of Airbus is minus 1.45 and Boeing is minus 20.88 in 2020. So the trend line for various ratios is displayed as.
Finally, after going through them, let's have a look at each business SWOT analysis. So, strength, what's a common in the strength is both business has high margins because of their low bargaining power of buyers. Also, Boeing's major strategy is new innovation, expansion of Mercedes, and strategic partners, whereas Airbus' major strategy is global reach, strategic business plan, high gross market share, and research and development. Now, weakness. Their common weakness is inventory management, as they are very large in size. It is quite difficult for inventory management. So, Boeing's major weakness are over outsourcing higher dependency on US government contracts, but Airbus' major weakness are its high manufacturing cost and problem with vital services sometimes. So the third element is opportunity. So increasing standardization and changing technology, landscape is open for opportunity for both business. Boeing's major opportunities are increasing demand for commercial planes, strategic expansion and growing aerospace and defense market. Whereas Airbus major opportunities is their technology advancement, increasing demand for travels and their strong economic scenarios. Last but not the least, threats. Both companies have threats of going government regulation and bureaucracy and increasing cost component for working in development market because of environmental regulations. Boeing's major threat could be their fixed price contracts, looming recessions, terrorist attack, and trade wars between US and China, whereas Airbus major threats could be regulatory pressure and losing market share. Boeing company was started by timber merchant William A. Boeing. Now, we knew how this giant aerospace manufacturing company is surviving in today's globalized world. In other hand, Airbus was established by 4 countries in Europe to give competition to Boeing. So, although Airbus is very small in comparison to Boeing, but it is providing a tough competition to Boeing. So, this was for the video. Thank you for being with us.